In 2021, there were more than 2.7 billion gamers worldwide. You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. For all the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello and welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 109. My name's Gareth Briley. I am your host, and on my virtual left is Mr. Darren Edwards. How you doing, Darren?
Hello, I'm very well, thanks, Gareth. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm feeling Christmassy.
Good.
Yeah. How are you?
There.
You don't sound it.
Yeah, no. Well, retail kind of grinds you down after a while in terms of Christmas. So if I don't see another mince pie in the next few weeks, I'll be a very happy man. But we're on the final straight, so we're nearly there. Good. So only a few days till I can enjoy Christmas, which will be nice.
Great. Good. And on my virtual right is Mr. Paul Renshaw. How you doing, Paul?
I am doing very well, thank you, Gareth.
You looking forward to Christmas?
I am looking forward to Christmas. I have a 10-year-old son, so it's all about the kids, isn't it? So, yeah, he's very excited. His list of things that we've sent off to Santa is about 3.5 feet long. So, hopefully he won't be too disappointed come the 23rd.
What about you, Paul? What do you want? Will you get what you need? That's what
all I want for Christmas is world peace, Gareth.
Good. I thought you were going to say you then. I was a bit worried.
Well, you know that you're second on the list.
And on my virtual opposite is someone who's come back after a long time away, like a sort of
from the dead.
From the dead, like a sort of pre-Santa with gifts, because he's got gifts for us. He's there for a reason. It's Mr. Neil Watson. How you doing, Neil?
I've also got quite a white beard.
Have you?
Yeah. So I could be Santa.
You could be Santa.
And many years ago, I was Santa.
What do you mean?
Well, when my son was in preschool, I got cornered by the ladies that ran it and said, "Can you come in and be Santa for the day, please?" Do I have to? Yeah, okay. But yeah, that's so I have been Santa.
I like this.
I'm good. Thank you very much.
And Neil's comes hot off the Xbox Hub press, and we're going to do Game of the Year. We're doing this episode today, so we've got the Xbox Hub Official Game of the Year. It's the top 11, and we're going to go 11 down to 1. And these are the...
Which year?
Which year, did you say?
We thought we'd do 1997.
It's a quiz all over again.
We're in.
2021, hopefully. And these are voted by the Xbox Hub reviewers. So, and these are the top 11. And we're going to do that. We're going to go straight into it in a minute. But first of all, do you think it's been a good year for games? Darren, I'm going to ask you. Darren, do you think it's been a good year for games?
I think it's been a good year for indie developers because they've had a bit more space to breathe because of the sheer amount of delays. So I think for them it has been, but I think overall it has been a little disappointing because so many games have been delayed. But on the other hand, it's hard to complain because a lot of games have still been released, even though some of the big ones have been pushed back till next year. So overall, not too bad. Stronger for indie, I'd say.
Okay. Paul?
Personally, I think it's been a very good year for games. There's been a lot of good games come out, games that I've really enjoyed playing. So, yeah, I mean, the indie stuff that's come out, there's been some surprisingly strong entries in that field. You know, when I first started out at the Xbox Hub many, many years ago, I wasn't a fan of an indie game. You know, it was all like AAA or nothing. But after reviewing these games and getting to know them over this past few years, I can now really appreciate, you know, the work that goes into them and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, like Darren says, I think it's been a very good year for the indie devs. But there has been some big games as well that I've really enjoyed playing.
Good. Neil, is that fair to say? I think they summed it up.
That's very fair to say. Yeah, I think it's been a very good year, all in all. I'm more concerned how we employed Paul when he said he didn't like indie games.
I did kind of sneak my way in false pretense. This indie games,
Yeah.
love them, Neil. Can't get enough.
There were a few lies told in the initial email. Is that what it was?
I can
It's all
neither
coming
confirm
out.
nor deny.
We won't go there. But no, overall, I think it's well, I think the top 10 or 11 games that we're going to talk about tonight prove that it has been a pretty damn good year.
I tell you what I think I've missed. You know me, I say this every year. It's been a terrible year for games. But looking at the list again and looking at all the things we chose, I tell you what I missed this year. I missed a sort of like a action adventure or an RPG game. You know, like a big open world. There hasn't been one of those. Like unless I've missed something, like an Assassin's Creed or like Horizon Zero Dawn. One of those big kind of adventures. Doesn't feel like it's been one of those ones, especially around Christmas time. I always get to this November time. I'm thinking, over Christmas I'll start playing that again and put some more hours into it. I haven't really got that this year. But
the thing is, you're an Ubisoft man, aren't you? And you're kind of used to them dropping a couple of games October, November time that you can get your teeth into, and that hasn't really happened, does it, this year?
No, not this year. No. But, you know, like you said, the indie stuff's been great. We're playing some brilliant games and also some unusual different ones. And we're going to find out. So, Neil, you're going to be the one that's going to drip feed these. I would, if I had time, do some music before each one, but I can't do that. We'll pretend.
Can we have like Top of the Pops music?
That's what I thought, yeah.
That would be awesome.
But the problem is, Paul, no one remembers Top of the Pops except us. That's the problem.
Well, that's your job for the night then, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
For each one.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear me sing, trust me.
So who have we got first, Neil? Go on, set us up.
Well, just to put it all into a bit of context and how it works, it's not just us four that chooses every year. We've got 13 people in the team. Every year, around about early December, we start writing some lists. Everybody jots down their top 10 or so. We then rank them with kind of a Formula One style scoring system. So 25 points for the top one, 18 for second, blah, blah, working our way down. Bring them all together. Somebody just broke something.
Wasn't me.
we bring them all together in one list, and that dictates our final top 10. We've done the same thing since 2014, I think. And it's worked pretty well for us, so we're just carrying on, really, and it makes it easier. Difference being this year, we've got 11, because 10th place is tied on the same amount of points, and I suppose I could have dropped one of them, but I think they both deserve it. So, number 10, Paul, kick in, please.
Number 10, am I reading off the list here?
No, you're doing the music.
Forgotten already.
I have forgotten already. Yes. So. Oh, well, sorry.
Right, okay. in at number 10 or number 11, is this open world RPG that Gareth's not been playing this year, and the one that he's been looking forward to and then has completely dismissed, which is Biomutant. Talk to me about Biomutant, people.
I played this on the strength of your review that you did for the site, and it was very good. The review was good, and the game was also good. So yeah, it's open world, it's RPG, it's. I particularly loved the language that was in the game. You know, the way that the narrator talks and everything. I thought that was very interesting. So
tells the story nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's very good. So yeah, anybody else play it?
I was going to play it, and I said to Neil, "What do you think?" And Neil said, "You won't like it." That was why I have never played it.
The problem is, I was playing this pre-release, and got hold of it maybe a couple of weeks before launch. Played through it a lot. There were issues with cutscenes, kind of not translated properly and not really kind of syncing correctly. There are also problems with camera angles. Some of the camera angles were really weird. It would just show a tree when there's meant to be a couple of people talking. And that kind of knocked it down. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 in the end. Yeah, 4 out of 5 in the end. But on the flip side, the combat was brilliant. Like Paul's just said, the narration was superb. Anybody that's listened to this podcast will know that I couldn't give a damn about a story, but it was good here. It was really good, and visually it's really vibrant. It's really colourful. You can go wherever you want, and yeah, it was really good. But there were problems on launch. Whether they fixed it or not, I don't know. This was back in May, I think it released, something like that. But yeah, really good game though.
And Danny, you played it?
No, so it was on my list of many things to play, and I just haven't found the time for it, especially given what type of game it is. It's one of those that I'm hoping to get to at some point, but I haven't made it yet.
There's definitely a lot of hours you're going to have to throw into it.
And that's what scares me about it.
Yeah, it's not a 5 or 10 hour game. It's much bigger than that.
Is there a lot of crafting in it, Neil? Have I got that in my head? Making weapons?
There's crafting and kung fu and magic and stuff like that in it. And the kung fu fighting.
Everybody was doing it, yeah.
Follow your own.
Should not have said that. But yeah, the kung fu fighting was very, very good.
Good.
It's going to be a long night.
So yeah, that came out. I can't believe that hasn't been on Game Pass yet. That'll be coming in January. I think I'm going to put my money on it now because I'm always right about these things.
Mystic Gareth, there we go.
January. First.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well it sold either. That's the problem. But no, if you haven't played it, and
good.
Again, though, full price title, 55 quid at launch. Got money in it to throw down.
So joint 10th by Mutant, and what was it? Who was it with?
That one was with Ghosts and Goblins, the Resurrected. Now we have to throw straight to Paul for this one because I think it's probably on the back of his votes that this got into.
How did this get?
It's the great game. It was. If I'm not 100% certain, if only James was here with all his stats, but I think it might have been my first 5 out of 5 review for the year. Because it just took me right back to being 13 years old and sat in my bedroom playing on the Mega Drive. It was fantastic. It was a brilliant. It wasn't a remaster. It was like a reimagining. There was differences, but the whole gameplay, the whole way that it flowed, the gameplay loop was fantastic. You know, picking up the different weapons and throwing them at all the enemies. It was, it just took me right back to being a kid again, and I absolutely loved it.
Oh, there you go, Paul. You sold me again on this.
There you go.
Yeah. Is he still in his underpants, his boxer shorts?
If you get hit enough, yes.
Yeah. Anyone else played that?
I played it in 1985 or whenever it was, but I haven't played it since.
It was hard then, wasn't it? When we had really good reflexes. I couldn't even do it.
Still difficult, Paul? Is that?
It is still very difficult, yeah. But there are difficulty levels now, so you can turn it down. And there's also a co-op mode, which is also makes things a bit easier. So.
Oh, okay.
Does it double the enemies and stuff if you've got a partner, or is it the same?
It didn't seem to. And the co-op partner, for some reason, gets to control like a ghost kind of character. And the ghost can be like in 3 different forms. It can attack, it can defend you, or it can turn itself into a platform if you're about to fall to your death. So if you've got somebody helping you who's good, like my son's fantastic at video games, it makes things a whole lot easier as well. So, you know, with excuse me, we're killing some of the bosses. You could just leave him to get on with it, and I just spend all my time dodging. It was quite easy.
Great, good, lovely. Let's go on. We've got a lot to get through. Number 9, Neil.
Absolutely.
Number 9. I'd like to say it's a weird one. It is a weird one. It launched really weirdly. It came out on the Microsoft Store. It wasn't promoted at all by Xbox. It then kind of disappeared and then just popped up again a couple of weeks later in like a weird format. But that is MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. Not many of us played it. I didn't play it. I don't think Paul, Darren, or Gareth played it. Did you?
No.
Nope.
No.
Sorry.
So this could be a very swift. In at number 9 is MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries.
Brilliant.
Next,
Moving on.
How did this get in? Who put this in there?
To be fair, it got 4.5 out of 5 in review. Johan reviewed it.
Wow.
But like I say, it arrived really strangely. It just appeared. Nobody knew about it. I think it dropped into Game Pass as well, and that's kind of saying something. None of us have played it, but it's in Game Pass. So it just kind of disappeared as soon as it appeared. As soon as it arrived.
On my radar, I didn't really register it at all. As you say, it was a very soft launch for the sounds of it.
Yeah, but it's there. It got the points. Some people have played it.
Yeah,
they obviously like it. So yeah,
it always reminds me of those types of games. The PlayStation 2, like in 2002, there was always a load of those games. Mech something.
I don't really know much about the franchise, but I'm guessing from MechWarrior 5, there's been a few of them before.
Yeah.
Maybe 4 of them before.
Maybe 4, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I really couldn't tell you too much about it.
Well, that's it. Well, that's number 9. Very good. Let's get to number
8. Number 8 sees the return of Agent 47 in Hitman 3. I think a few of you have played this, have you not?
Yeah, I've played
absolutely.
It. Yeah.
I'll let you crack on them.
Paul, do you want to start? You reviewed it.
No, we haven't heard much from you yet, Gareth.
I've been hosting. This is my time
off
now.
I'd
just let you lot talk.
So.
It's good.
Okay, I'll carry on then. Hitman 3, I played this for review again, and really enjoyed it. One of the things that really stood out for me was one of the missions was like an Agatha Christie murder mystery story, where you could take on the part of a police detective and wander around the house and solve who killed who. And if you did it correctly, it was apparently possible to make the woman that was your target kill herself from despair. So it was very deep. It was very good-looking game. And yeah, I really enjoyed playing it.
It's the first Hitman I finished, which says
that does say something, doesn't it?
It does. And I think the locations are amazing, and on the Series X it looked beautiful. It's always been a really beautiful looking game, isn't it? With how they do crowds, but there's a couple of locations in there that Dubai just looks. You go to this kind of launch party in Dubai that just looks amazing. One of the towers. And there's this kind of section, and like you said, in the English country manner, that's the detail in all the kind of rooms is kind of stunning. There's a great kind of fight on a train, if I remember.
Shooting your way through.
Yeah, it just takes, and you can. It's typical Hitman where you can go and do it so many different times. You can replay those levels again and again and again and try completely different ways of doing it. Whether you go in as you do something around the long way, do poison. It's a really good game actually. I sort of did my own way, and then I went and looked at guides. But like you looked at guides normally just to get you through a game. This one's great because you can look at a guide and you just find all these different, ways of doing a level, or finding the thing. And I think it's really good. It's really interesting.
I mean, that's always been a good thing with Hitman. As you wander through, you get these, and they call them opportunities, don't they?
Yeah.
So you can then have, it'll give you the steps that you need to do to do things in a slightly different way. So, yeah, it was very good. It was very big. It was very enjoyable.
And the nightclub scene. There's a nightclub scene in Berlin or something, isn't it?
Oh, that was awesome. You could almost taste the sweat, couldn't you?
It's really good. And they all did dancing. Yeah, it's good. Dan, have you played it?
I haven't completed it, but I have played it. And I'm a big fan of what they've done with the World of Assassination trilogy. This is the last part, isn't it? I don't know if they're doing DLC for it or not. I'm not sure, but
there was a load of DLC that came out in the 7 Deadly Sins stuff. Whether that brought new missions or not, I'm not sure. It definitely brought extra costumes and things like that.
Oh, cool! Because I've played it since back in the day, the originals, and kind of tracked its evolution into what it is now. And I just echo what you two said, really. I mean, I love the set pieces and I love the puzzle and strategy element to how you take out your target and the various options and different roads you can go down. I think it's a really, really clever and well-designed game in terms of the settings it drops you into. So I am a big fan, but it's one that I need to go back and finish for sure.
That came out in January, didn't it? So it's quite one of the first ones of the year, I think. January 22nd, around there.
I think it was one of the first Series X optimized games as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. So there you go. Brilliant. Neil, next one, please.
I thought you were going to ask me if I played it.
You've not played it.
No, I haven't.
No, there's a story in there, so he's allergic.
I haven't played any of the Assassination Trilogy ones. I don't know why. I played, was it Blood Money back in the day?
On the 360.
I played that one, but never really got into these. Anyway, what number are we at now? 7, maybe?
7?
Yeah, 7. Resident Evil Village. Another one that I haven't played, so again, I'll leave it to you three.
I've not played it either. So
I've played it. Darren, have you played it, haven't you?
Again, I have. I've not completed it now,
yes.
Which is I'm guilty of that quite a lot. But I'm fully aware of kind of what happens and stuff because Ryan's played it to completion. He loved it.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I think we've discussed this before. In terms of the game of the year, for me, I really enjoyed what I played so far, and I think the atmosphere is brilliant, and there's some genuinely terrifying moments in it, and that's what you expect from Resident Evil. But I see it's quite similar to 7 in some ways. So for me, it didn't, when it was in the running for lots of Game of the Year categories, and that's why I'm quite satisfied of where it's placed on our list. It didn't feel as special as some of the other games that were released this year, if that makes sense. I thought it could almost have been a continuation of 7 in a lot of respects without going into story and stuff. So I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really, really well-made game, but there was just something missing for me that would have put it at the top of my list.
I think that's fair enough, Darren. I think the problem with Resident Evil, first of all, it's visually it's stunning.
And it is. It's brilliant.
And also, there's some set pieces in there are absolutely brilliant. It kind of it throws you really in. It just looks amazing. So, and it's a really great game to play on the Series X. To see that it's beautiful. It's just frightening. I think all the Resident Evil games have this problem, especially the last few. It's a third act problem, and when you get to the third act, it just doesn't. It's not as impressive as the first two. I think Resident Evil 7 was the same. It was amazing that first kind of 3/4 of it, and then it got a bit with fighting big globule monsters again.
I thought that after about half an hour with Resident Evil 7.
Did you?
And then I stopped.
Did you? Yeah.
And then never touched Village at all.
It's really interesting because what 4 managed to do, and 4 is one of my favourite games of all time. I remember getting it for the GameCube when it was very first released, before they ported it onto every console under the sun. That reinvented the franchise in such a way where it played with the format. It wasn't survival horror, it was more action adventure. But it just felt fresh, new, full of ideas. I think 8 borrows a lot from 7, and that's not to detract from how good it is as a game. But that's what I mean by it. It didn't feel special enough to go kind of right to the top of my list.
Yeah, it's a really strong game, and I had a great time with it.
I
really enjoyed. I mean, that came out in May. It was like it surprised me much more. I thought, this is great. It's, and the things that we knew about with the tall vampire lady, and but there's some extra bits in that as well as some of the other people you meet that are just spectacular. But there's something about it that doesn't quite work towards the end. But I think you're right. Maybe the main character isn't. The main character makes me laugh because all he keeps saying is going, "What's going on? What's happening?" It's like you've been through this once before. Why are you so shocked? So he's it's good. It's really, really good. If you get a chance to get it now, definitely get it. If you haven't played it before. What's next? On the number 6, are we?
If you say so, number 6, we can go with that.
Don't trust
which
me.
is Hades.
Oh,
you say that like you've played it.
I've played it.
I've played it.
Who else has played it? Darren, you played it?
No, I've not played Hades.
I played about 5 minutes of it, maybe 10 minutes.
Go, Neil, you start.
Thought it looked really good, like the idea, then got sidetracked by something else and haven't gone back to it. So I really couldn't say an awful lot about it.
Did you review it for us, Paul? Or was that...
No, it wasn't me.
No, Dave reviewed it.
Dave,
and he gave it 5 out of 5.
He did,
I
didn't
think.
he? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he gave it 5 out of 5.
I'm the same as you, Neil. I played it for quite a while, for a couple of hours, and then I said I've got to go back to that because we had to review other stuff, and I haven't gone back to it. It's on my... I haven't deleted it, which is a good sign.
The problem is it came out mid-August, and anything that comes out mid-August is going to struggle for people to keep going back to because of the amount of games that came out September, October, November.
Yeah.
Do you not think?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, that's why it's just there waiting for me to kind of...
Yeah. But I will definitely go back.
And also, because of the nature of the game, and Paul will talk about it as well, it's tricky because you're just learning all the time. So you're dying and learning. That's probably part of the game, to be fair.
Yeah.
And so you have to be... It would be a nightmare to go back now as well, thinking I've got to get back into that rhythm of that, knowing how the game works. But it's really inventive how it makes you get better, in a sense, rather than some of those types of games where it's just like...
It makes you get better as well?
Well, doesn't make me get better, but it makes a normal player get better. Paul, you loved it, didn't you?
I did really like it, but I have to hold my hands up here and say I fell into the same trap as you two. I sat there playing it and loving it and beat the first boss thinking, yeah, I'm on my way now. And then it's just, game reviewer's life, isn't it? More code came in. Neil was like, yeah, I can't be bothered to review this. Can you do it for me? So yeah, I end. That never happens, does it, Neil? So I ended up playing games for review, and unfortunately, I've not gone back to it. But like you say, it was stunning to look at. The combat was fantastic. I mean, even getting used to the different weapons, because you could have a different loadout and you had to find the weapon that would suit your style and everything else. It was just fantastic. I do intend to go back to it at some stage, but I think when I do, I'll probably just end up having to start all over again because, I've just lost all of the knowledge that I had. To enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, I really, really enjoyed what I played. I just need a few more hours in the day. In fact, can I change my wish for Christmas to that? Forget world peace. I just want some more hours in the day, please.
I've got
you might be lucky if we do get locked down again in a couple of weeks, but you might get your wish.
We can see it coming, can't we?
Yeah.
So...
it's a really interesting game, and I think the problem I had this year, I played Returnal on the PlayStation 5, so I was kind of like just sort of finishing up with that, and then straight into another kind of game when it was like learn and die, and so I needed a break, but I will go back. Yeah, it's very good. What's next? What's number 5?
Number 5 is one of my favourite taglines of the year, actually, and it's from Mr. Darren Edwards. I don't know if anybody knows him.
Never heard of him.
No. It's the insane in the membrane of Psychonauts 2. So Darren, take it away.
Oh, Psychonauts 2. I was so excited when this was revealed, and before it released, I played the first one again in its entirety, and it's just oozes creativity. I really, really enjoyed it. I keep thinking it's an Xbox exclusive, but it's not because it came out on PlayStation 4 as well. But for me, it was the sheer creativity around it, and it's like looking through one of those psychedelic kaleidoscopes whenever you play the game. There's just stuff happening, colours everywhere. It's brilliant, and like the story around it is just, you can't help but smile when you play it. I think from kind of ear to ear. There's loads to do as well. There's loads to go and find and collect, and it really gets you to explore the world, to which they've put loads and loads of effort into making really diverse and varied. And you go to Psychonauts HQ in this one. So for fans of the first game, it really expands on the world and the kind of backstory. There's a lot of callbacks to what happened in the past of a lot of the characters you met in the first game. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. nearly 100%ed it. I went back and collected most things. Just got a few bits and bobs to get. But it's a game that I could easily replay in a few months from kind of start to finish. And I thought it was brilliant. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. You played it, Paul, haven't you?
I played a bit of it. Same kind of situation with Hades, unfortunately. I actually played this on the remote play thing, the cloud gaming. So I took a controller into work and hooked it up to my laptop at lunchtime and played it through that. So yeah, it was very good. It's like Darren says, it looks fantastic. It's so colourful and bright and imaginative. I mean, the only bit that I really played was like I did the whole of the first bit and then just to where you get to the HQ. But the whole kind of teeth-related first level was fantastic. I've really enjoyed what I've played of it. And again, it's on my list to go back to and finish off.
Absolutely. And Neil, have you played this?
You're going to hate me. The original Psychonauts is one of my favourite games ever. And I wasn't overly hyped about this one, especially not like Darren was. But I wanted to play it. And then I think a reward came up on the Xbox rewards things. You know, when you have to play a game and get an achievement in it, and it gives you 10 points, the equivalent of about a penny. And it was to play it and get an achievement in Psychonauts 2. So I played about 5 minutes, skipped all the cutscenes, waited till the achievement picked.
Neil!
Pressed the Nexus button, took my reward, and switched it off and gone back. But I really, really want to play it.
I could hear Darren's heart breaking.
I know.
That is
I've ruined your Christmas, haven't I, Darren?
Yeah,
I know it.
You're dead to him now.
Yeah.
As Paul said, like the first level is also kind of to do dental themed, but when you face off against some of the boss characters and some of the places you go, because you go into the minds of other characters, don't you, in Psychonauts, and it's their interpretation and their kind of mental state which you're kind of fighting your way through. It's brilliant. Like, there's no two levels the same, and it allows itself to just be really, really creative. A little bit like Doctor Who does, in the sense that it can go anywhere and do anything. There's kind of no holds barred. So I really would implore you to go back and play it, because it's brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. I echo everything. Yeah. Good. Number 4, please, Neil.
This one is all in your hands, Gareth. This is Disco Elysium.
Yeah, Disco Elysium. Have anyone else played this?
Negative.
Right.
No, I have not, unfortunately.
On a really brief thing, this is a hard one, Disco Elysium, because it came out on the Xbox and the PlayStation in Jan, I think, and the Xbox later on. But it's been out for a while, isn't it? I think it came out in 2019. It won all the awards. On PC. I went to Res for the Xbox Hub in 2018, I think.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw a couple of games, and one of these games was this. And I remember sitting down with the developers in this kind of like packed room, of just loads of other small indies. And then, playing it for like 15 minutes. And I just went to them, this is amazing. And I want to spend more time with it. Like, it's so weird just to play this for 15 minutes. And they were like, yeah, we're just trying some stuff out. And I said, will it come to console? And I said, maybe, we're trying for Steam first. And then, it won everything. And now it's come to console. It's so hard to describe what it is. You're a sort of detective stuck in a hotel that you could be dead. You wake up, you're hungover, you can't remember what the nights happened, and then there's been a dead body hanging outside the hotel for a week that you haven't investigated, and that's what you're meant to be doing.
Paul's life in the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
I was just thinking that sounds like the last time I went to Glasgow.
But the writing is unbelievable. There's rumours of it being like 1 million words of dialogue, because there's so many different options. So it's like a point and clicker in a sense, but it's so much more than that. So like point and clicker, you might have 3 options of dialogue on a line. This one, you might have 8 options of dialogue. But then you might choose one which might branch out to 5 different extra options of dialogue. So you can play this game so many different ways, and it really feels like you're completely in this world. And with the console versions and the PC update, it's all voice acted as well, and the voice acting is amazing. And so you're completely in this kind of world of just, normally when you're doing this, sometimes you're just forwarding, clicking the writing or the voice stuff to get to the next bit because you're a bit frustrated. But this, you're completely listening to every word. That's the highlight of the game. And visually, it just looks this world in this kind of watercoloured, weird, kind of like dystopian village. Not village, city, that you're kind of wandering around with its own political rules and systems. It's amazing, and it's huge. It's like a 30 to 60 hour game, depending on how much you do it. So, if you want something completely different, unusual, you should definitely give that a go. It's amazing.
How long is the game if you skip all the cutscenes?
How long to get your first achievement?
Yeah.
I'm there.
He's there. No. Yeah, it's a really good choice. I mean, I think the only reason it's not high is it's been out. I don't think many people have played it, to be honest with you. I really don't on console. I think
you gave it a 5 out of 5, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, some definite 5.
Yeah.
I gave 2 5s this year, I think. And
You can't give the same game 2 5s.
It's a 10 out of 5 game. Brilliant.
Yeah. No, it's a 5. Definitely a 5. It's great. Really good. But I don't think a lot of people have played it. I don't know how well it's done. I'd be interested to find out.
I would think more people would have played it when it released on PC.
Yeah.
I know this came as the Final Cut edition, didn't it? Or Final Cut version, or something, or whatever it was called. And I'm guessing that added some bits and pieces in. But is it enough, apart from the hardcore fans, is it enough for them to play it again if they've played it on PC and come across this weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it didn't go into Game Pass or anything, did it? I don't think.
No, not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Might be another one for that, really.
Yeah, I think it might be. Good. Number 4.
That was number 4.
Number 3.
Getting the hang of these numbers.
It's because he's counting backwards and getting confused, isn't he? Number 3 is a game. It was a game that made us change our deadlines for the Game of the Year list. Actually, normally we'd like to, get a feel for what is going to be the game for the Game of the Year early December, kind of 10th of December, something around that. But on the 8th of December, a game released called Halo Infinite. And so we kind of had to include it, didn't we? And it got to 3rd place. Again, I haven't played it. Paul's not played it. Gareth and Darren?
I've played it, and Darren's played it.
I have completed it now,
Yeah, you go. Darren, you start it. You tell us all about it.
So I've got to put all my full thoughts down and stuff, and write up the review. But I enjoyed it, but it wasn't what I was expecting. So for me, and this is going to sound overly negative, the story really lackluster for me. So having been a long time Halo fan for a long, so maybe one for you, Neil, for a long time.
Can you shoot things?
Yeah, no, you can. Yeah, you can. But I've played Halo since it was released on the original Xbox, and for me, the sense of scale and epicness was told not through cutscenes and stuff, or the overused cutscenes, but gameplay and set pieces and how you navigate through the world and the various different worlds you find yourself in. In Infinite, the open world prospect works and doesn't work in some ways at the same time. So it's quite a large map. There's things to do, there's side things to do apart from the main story, and it's all kind of labelled clearly and you can find your way around pretty easily. But a lot of it is empty space and it looks brilliant, and clearly the extra time they used on the development has paid dividends in that respect, because we all remember Craig the Brute from last year. But I do struggle with it because you're either on the ring, which looks like the second level from the original game, grassy verges and trees, or you're in a Forerunner facility, which is grey walls, and that's it. there's no other settings for the levels apart from the very beginning, which are like the pre-game levels, like the intros, if you like. And the story, I won't spoil it, but it's quite open-ended as well. So there's clearly going to be more coming, but it concerns the Banished, who were the main enemies in Halo Wars 2, I believe, and kind of expands on them a bit more. But I just didn't feel it. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling the scale and epicness that you've had with the previous games. In terms of how to play, it's brilliant. Like, the gameplay is really, really good. The grapple is a bit of a masterstroke, which is the Master Chief's new kind of gadget, if you like, which helps you zip around and attach yourself to flying vehicles and take out the pilots and whatnot. So it plays well, it looks good, and it sounds brilliant. Like, the soundtrack is amazing, and you've got callbacks from all the other games within the soundtrack. So for fans, you go, oh, I remember that from Halo 2, I remember that mission from whatever. So that's all brilliant. But yeah, I think for me, the story was just a little bit of a letdown. And I don't like brutes. I haven't liked them since Halo 2, so it was a poor choice. It was a poor choice of enemy for me. I wasn't going to get on with it. I wasn't going to get on with it from the beginning, I don't think. I don't know what your thoughts are, Gareth, but that's my ramblings about it.
No, I think it's good. I mean, I've never been as invested in the Halo world. I've played them all as other people. You know, I've always had a good time with Halo, and that's been it. So I've come in not expecting this kind of like masterpiece. So it feels very familiar.
Yeah.
Kind of like, oh, I know what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, they're little guys are running around screaming, and there's nothing there. And the story-wise, I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying the who's snapping around there. I can hear people snaffling around.
Not me.
Is it Neil? Neil, stop it.
It's not me.
Paul.
It's not me.
Oh dear, someone's at it.
It's a ghost.
It's a ghost, yeah. Yeah, I'm saying I think it's good. It's good. It's good. It plays well, but it's not going to... I didn't expect it to blow me away. In that sense. I mean, I get completely lost. I don't even know what the rings are, really. I don't know what it's like mad, the sci-fi element of it. But I thought, you know, when 5 was really not so great, but I had a lot of fun with it. So, yeah, it's good. It's really good. It's really good. It deserves to be up there, I think. And the multiplayer is people having a lot of fun with that as well. So that's great.
Yeah, it definitely, it is a good game, and it's a good game to play. I think you're right. With 5, that really split opinion. And there's story strands that continue from 5, but it came out like 5 years ago. Yeah. So you can, at the beginning, you can be thinking, oh yeah, what happened to so-and-so? Where did we get up to? And so it's trying to continue storylines from 5 and also break new ground. So I think it's a little bit conflicted in terms of the story it's trying to tell, for me personally.
And it doesn't... It looks good. It doesn't look amazing. It looks very good. You can see it's a cross-gen game.
Are they being held back? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. A little bit. It looks good. It looks really, really good. But it isn't a this-gen game.
I think what I enjoy most about how it looks is you can see from miles in the terrain, and you can go there. And when you get to a really high point and look around, I think there are some vistas that look really, really impressive. Certainly for a Halo game. I take your point about the kind of current gen stuff, but I think I've never known a world to look so good in a Halo game. So I'm glad that they did take the extra time to make that a reality.
Yeah, but good. I'm still getting through it. I'm enjoying it. I've gone down to easy level though.
Have you?
Yeah, just because of time.
I can't believe it didn't start.
I can't believe it didn't start.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I don't like the boss battles in it though. So I don't know what you think of them, Gareth.
It's great. It's great. It's great on easy level.
Oh, I played on heroic, you see, all the way through.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, I'm not a fan. You get certain powerful enemies with health bars and stuff, and it feels like a bit of a grind at times. They tried it in Halo 2 a bit, and then they had it in 5. I don't know. I just don't think it needs it.
Yeah. There you go. Number 3.
How about the multiplayer?
Oh yeah.
Is
The
that
multiplayer is brilliant. I think.
is that completely standalone? It is, isn't it?
In terms of from the campaign.
Yeah. It's
It's
completely different download as well. Is that right?
Well, they pre-released it, yeah. So you downloaded it separately, and then you downloaded the campaign afterwards. Whether they'll bundle them together or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, they're both on Game Pass. The multiplayer is brilliant. I think it's just really, really fun online FPS. But obviously, there's all the controversy around the Battle Pass because they're charging £10-15 for a new helmet or whatever it is, and you're thinking, it just seems a bit on the nose. It seems a little bit cheeky, and also I know they're looking at improving it, but to earn your XP to level up, you have to do daily and weekly challenges. So regardless of how well you perform, if you've killed 20 people and only died once, you get no extra experience for that. So it's a bit of a grind to level up.
Okay. So if you were picking one, multiplayer or campaign, if you wanted just to play Halo, which would you go with?
I mean, for me, the campaign is enjoyable and it's fun to play, but the multiplayer is the more rounded option. I think once they iron out the Battle Pass bits and bobs, I think it's the strongest Halo multiplayer probably since 2 or 3, whereas I don't think it's the strongest campaign since 2 or 3.
I remember waiting for Halo 2 to drop through the letterbox, sitting there waiting for the postman on launch day. Enjoyed that. That was good.
You never played it, but you just read.
Yeah, I never played it.
There were no achievements on the original Xbox, Neil. Did you play it like
Never broke the seal.
Yeah,
Never broke the seal.
straight on eBay. Okay, number 2. What have we got?
Number 2 is It Takes Two.
Ooh.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do it. It just came out that way, didn't it?
Sorry, I see what the voters did.
Yeah, It Takes Two, which is probably definitely the best co-op game for a good couple of years, probably since Overcooked, I would think. Anyone played it?
Yeah, I think we've all played it, haven't we?
No, when it released on Game Pass, I did organise with a certain editor of the website that we would play through together, but that's never happened.
What website is that?
It's this little one called TheXboxHub.com. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Okay. I'll give them a shout and maybe one day.
Yeah, if you could.
yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm probably the only person in the world who's never played it because I have no friends.
So Neil, have you played it?
Yes, I played it again.
Yeah, he's played it. Yeah,
I've played it. I played it with my other half, and she didn't play a lot of games. She plays Just Dance, and she does the singing games. And I said, "We're playing this." Oh, okay. After a couple of hours of a bit of shouting, we never went back to it again.
I thought you were going to say she never spoke to me again.
yeah. And actually, I was talking to her the other night about this. Actually, after I put the list together, I said, "Oh, what's at number 2? It Takes Two." She just looked at me. What? We haven't played that. yeah, we have. But no, so I've done a couple of levels, and it's really, really good. It looks amazing. I attended a pre-release press event for it where Joseph Farah's the guy behind that and Brothers, and what's the other one he did?
No Way Out.
A Way Out.
A Way Out.
No, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Whereas he just talked for about 2 hours, and he's like a really engaging guy, and he's really passionate about his games, and you could tell from this presentation it was going to be brilliant. It's found a second spot in our list, so a lot of people obviously think it is brilliant. But yeah, I want to go back and finish it off, and if I don't do it there with Gemma, Paul, just give me a shout and I'll be there for you.
You're
Merry
a comedian,
Christmas,
you are.
Yeah, it's a superb game. I mean, it's one of those games that you finish and you go, how did it start? I can't remember the beginning, because what it does, it just tries so many different things. Every level is a different way of playing. And
I was just going to say that he emphasised that a lot in the presentation, and he said you're going to be seeing little Easter eggs from loads of different types of games, and there's like Plants vs Zombies and stuff like that in there.
Yeah.
And he said every level works brilliantly, but everyone is completely different with different mechanics, etc., etc. Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
That's it. I mean, and you're going through this kind of like world. Then one minute you're doing like Plants vs Zombie, you're doing a shooting moment, you're doing a racing thing, you're doing an on rails jump, swinging through things, adventure, and then you've got these little lovely mini games that you can play, that you find and you can play against each other, like doing like a football game or something very quickly for a moment, or you have to kind of like. That's the thing now. I can't remember any of it. It was so much of it. It was so many different things. Every 2 minutes you were trying something else. But I just remember playing it and just going, "This is just mad. This is kind of amazingly creative. It's unlike any other thing I've played." And
he knows how to make a game, doesn't he?
He does.
He certainly knows how to make a game.
He really does. I mean, I would say that was something I thought was special when I played it, because it was so unassuming, and it wasn't like big and bold and loads of explosions and big space battles or whatever. It was a really humble, beautifully told story, around two parents and the little girl, and they were arguing, and the relationship is kind of a little bit rocky at the beginning, and it goes from there, and it had me laughing and like almost crying at one point. It was just brilliant. And as you say, it was like a greatest hits of loads of games in the mechanics it employed, and you just never knew what was coming next. And is it Dr. Hakim, the dancing, singing book?
Yeah.
He's just fantastic, like absolutely brilliant. So I echo what you said, Gareth. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and it's on Game Pass now, isn't it? I think. Yeah. Because me and Ryan played it on the PlayStation when it first released, because he got it straight away. But it's on Game Pass now.
But also, we were playing this when we said you could just take the cutscenes, the story, and the actors, the whole thing. You just make a movie out of that.
Yeah,
Pixar should just take it and make it.
It is.
Yeah,
it's very Pixar.
Yeah, it's really good.
I loved it.
Brilliant. Right, let's go to number 1.
Okay, so numbers 2 down to 6 were pretty close in the old scoring. They could have all been jumbled up, and we would have been quite happy with that. The game that's taken number 1, I think probably everybody can guess. It's way out ahead of everything else. That's the one. It's Blood Rain. So, Paul, if you'd like to talk us through Blood Rain Fresh Bites, Blood Rain 2 Remastered, and Blood Rain 1. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, it's not Blood Rain. Blood Rain didn't get in our top 50, I don't think. Yeah, which is a shame. But it's a little game that a lot of places have dismissed, and some places didn't even have it in their game awards or something. I don't know what they were talking about.
Travesty.
But yeah, it's a racing game. Not everybody likes racing games. It's called Forza Horizon 5, and I believe Paul reviewed it for us.
I did review it for us. In fact, while I was in the process of reviewing it, I was quizzed thoroughly on this very podcast by Gareth asking me questions about it. It's just a stunning game. From the opening sequence all the way through, the scenery, the racing, the cars, everything about it. In fact, just before I came on the podcast, I was just doing the weekly challenges again. So it's just the all-round package, and the fact that the Game Award snubbed it for Game of the Year, I find absolutely disgraceful, for want of a better word. I'll get off my soapbox now, but yeah, it's just the best racing game I've ever played, and I do like a racing game. I've played all of the Forzas apart from the very first Forza Motorsport because I didn't have an Xbox. And it is head and shoulders above all the rest. It just looks brilliant. It plays fantastically. And, you can't say any better than that. It was a 5 out of 5 game. I actually emailed Neil to ask him if I could give it more than 5 out of 5, to which he replied no. But
he's a cruel man.
He is a cruel man, I tell you. But yeah, it's just perfect.
Good. That sums it up. Darren, you agree?
I do, and again, like it's a game I need to spend more time with, because I put hundreds of hours into Forza Horizon 4, and then when I finally got around to installing this and booting it up, as you say, Paul, the intro is mind blowing. Like what they've done with it. I thought, how are they going to expand on 4? How are they going to improve 4? It only came out in 2018, whatever it was, but it just looks phenomenal. I'm just a little bit terrified about how many hours I'm going to end up putting into it all over again. But I agree with you, Paul. I think it should have been on that Game of the Year shortlist. God knows why not.
Absolutely. I think as a technical showcase of what an Xbox can do, this is, pretty much as good as it gets.
Great. Neil, are you agreeing with this? You've played this game.
I've played a little bit of Forza. This is the reason I haven't played It Takes Two with Paul, because pretty much every evening for the last 4 weeks maybe, we've just been sitting there going through the weekly challenges and racing the AI and racing other people. But yeah, I love. Paul says he's played every Forza. I think I've probably played every racing game that's ever released on Xbox, give or take a couple. I've played Forzas, I've played Project Gothams, I've played the F1 games, the WRC games, all of them. I loved Forza Horizon 2. That's possibly my favourite. Forza Horizon 4 was brilliant, apart from the loading screens, which were a pain in the arse.
Mm-hmm.
Forza Horizon 5 is the perfect game, I think.
There we go.
I can't see anything. There's some little tiny bits like they've got the accolade system, which is in itself is brilliant. It gives you something to chase constantly. I'd like to be able to pick an accolade and for it to just take me straight to it, if you know what I mean. Instead of have to think, oh yeah, I need to do this, then go back to the map screen and find my way there. But other than that, and there's obviously the odd multiplayer issue. There's the odd online server issue.
That would be my only fault. I think the thing that carries on from the thing is the multiplayer. It feels like the game has advanced, but the multiplayer stayed where it was. And the one thing I don't like is when you're stuck in a race and it could go on for bloody days, and you've realised you've picked the wrong car, and you can't change that car.
Yeah,
so
but that's just you being stupid.
No, but I think loads of you, we've all had that. But no other words for it. But it isn't. But it isn't. It is. That's something they could do to make. Because then you're just bored. Because then when you've done it, especially if you're doing that, and you're on it for an hour in the same thing, you're like, oh Jesus.
To be fair though, some of the races and some of the events in Forza Horizon 4 did go on a long time, but I'm pretty sure they're a lot shorter this time around, aren't they? It's maybe 15 minutes or so for a kind of championship to go.
The big ones, you're like 15, 20 minutes.
We were playing for 45 minutes. I was stuck in a blue bloody Renault Clio or something.
Was it blue?
Stop picking the blue cars, Gareth. I told you this.
What we're going to do, Gareth, is we'll send Playground an email and say, can we have a button that says, are you sure, Gareth? Or a little prompt that comes up on the screen saying, are you sure, Gareth? It's a bit blue.
I don't know why. I was in front of Paul. That's what I'm saying.
The thing is, though, it's also picked up massively in the last couple of weeks. They've thrown out some hot fixes that have really made it a lot better as well.
Good.
And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know what else they can do with it. It's that good. It's that good.
Good. That's it then. That's our top 11 or top 10 was a double of 10. Anything that you just really briefly we've missed out? Something each one of you. Now the problem is because we've all we're all busy reviewing games. We've not all reviewed the same games, so there might be ones that you reviewed but no one else has played. Is there one of those, Darren?
To be honest, I don't know if it falls more into the indie category, but I reviewed a game a few months ago called Echo Generation, which was brilliant, and I don't think it's had the attention that it deserves. But it was like quite a straightforward RPG with turn-based battles, all set in kind of a Stranger Things universe. Kind of captures the essence of being teenagers cycling around in America, kind of going on adventures and stuff. It was really, really good. So I would recommend you check that out if you get the time.
We'll do. Paul?
The game that didn't get the recognition that it deserves for me was Outriders. Especially now that they've released some fixes and they've released a new sort of package of expeditions at the end of the game and stuff. I've just been going back to that over the last couple of weeks, and it's picked up massively, and it's very good now. So if you're looking for something shooty to play, then Outriders.
Neil, have you got one?
The problem with Outriders, though, didn't it release in that time again, that August, September, October?
It did,
didn't it?
April.
Yes, I think it did. Yeah,
April. April. It came out in April.
It released in April.
Was it?
Yeah.
I knew it was a while
really?
back.
Yeah.
Oh, because I did a Neil and played it for a bit and then never went back to it.
Yeah.
I'm only
You
level
should try
3
it again now. It's very good.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll have to jump on and you can guide me through, Paul.
I'll hold your hand, Daz. Don't you worry.
Thank you.
Neil, have you got one?
Can I have a few?
No, you can have one. We haven't got time. One.
Oh, we got plenty.
No,
of
we
time.
haven't got time. We've got
All
loads
the
to
time in the
do.
world.
Okay. If you haven't played F1 2021, you've got to play that because that's the best F1 game you can play. I'm still here. I'm still going.
Jesus.
Jurassic World Evolution 2 is better than Jurassic World Evolution 1, and I love that game. So that's really good as well.
Yeah.
And my third one, because I'm having free, I don't care how long we're here for. And
Should I
I
play
might
our
talk
music?
a little bit slowly. Is Oddworld Soulstorm.
Oh, that's a good shout.
Just because
I need to play
massive fan of Oddworld and what the inhabitants have done, and this is proper Abe's puzzling, and it's really good. But again, it's a game that people probably played when it released on PC and PS4 back in the early months of the year.
Yeah.
It's been enhanced a bit. It's come out on Xbox. Play it now. Brilliant.
I think I've only got one, and it's my other 5, which is Life is Strange: True Colors, which is brilliant.
Yes,
That was really
course.
good, and I don't think many people have played it. None of us have played it apart from me, and it's really
Is that
good.
because people are tired of Life is Strange?
Yeah, I think, and it would be a shame because it's like it's a different story. It's brilliantly done, and it looks beautiful. It's really good. I was very shocked by it when I played it because I was a bit like, oh, I'm reviewing it. I think I was the only one who went up for it. I was like, oh, okay, I'll do it. And then I was very surprised. It's great.
Story, isn't it?
It's got story. It's got story.
Yeah, we don't want any story.
It's good. It nearly won. It was up for a lot of awards. It should have won narrative, definitely. Yeah. Okay, you lot. Now, if we need to find you, where can we get you? Darren, where can we get hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at 27Darren.
Good. And Paul, where can we find you?
On Twitter, my handle is at TheXboxHub.
Good. And Neil, where can we find you?
I went on Twitter the other day and I had a load of people mentioning me from kind of back in May. So this is the first time I'd seen it. So sorry to those people. So don't contact me on Twitter because I won't look at it.
Okay.
And also, please feel free to add me, Neil363, on your Xbox, but don't send me a message because I don't look at them on there either. Lots of people do that, and then they keep messaging me saying, "Why aren't you replying? Why aren't you replying?" I don't look at the messages.
Have you got a PO
Anyway.
box, Neil? Or can he write you a letter?
I need one of those. Yeah, send me a pigeon.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, otherwise Instagram, Neil363.
Okay. Brilliant. You can find me, NTB Borelli, on Twitter and Twitch. But for now, we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub, and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.